What's going on, gang, and welcome back to our channel. The observable universe is so huge that it's beyond comprehension for the layman, but NASA has long been interested in discovering its secrets. In this video, we're talking about NASA discovering the largest object in the universe. But before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 8. A massive cluster. If you ever take a look at the night sky, you'll likely gaze upon thousands of tiny dots that seem to be sparkling. Scientists have long been interested in gazing at these stars and finding out the truth of this universe. Well, one of the biggest discoveries came as a result of their unrelenting passion, which was the discovery of the largest known object in the universe. The object was named the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall, and there's a reason behind naming it this way, which we'll touch upon later. One of the main things you need to know about this object is that it's in fact a massive supercluster of galaxies that are all relatively close to one another. To put things into perspective, the estimated size of this object is around 10 billion light years. This means that light would take 10 billion years to go from one end to the other. Number 7. How the discovery was made. This discovery was first made by Istvan Horváth, who was the lead in a research team at the National University of Public Service in Hungary. One of the main reasons why the supercluster was named how it is had to do with the fact that it was discovered in the general direction of the Hercules and Corona Borealis constellations. Many huge objects had been discovered before, but due to the sheer size and immensity of this object, it became clear that it was the biggest in the known universe. Research into this cluster is still being done to this day, and there are many exciting things that are constantly being discovered. Number 6. Disagreement about true size. Since science is not based on the opinion of people, and most of the discoveries go through a peer review process, this huge object went through the same steps. Even though this discovery was made a while back, research papers are still being written on it, and one of them was written as recently as 2020. It seems like many of the researchers have come to the conclusion that this object does indeed exist, but one thing that's still up for debate is its size. To put into context just how long 10 billion light years is, the universe itself was formed around 13.8 billion years ago. So, if the calculations made by the original research team is considered to be accurate, it would point to the fact that this object was created just 4 billion years after the Big Bang. Even though 4 billion years might seem like a long time, when looking at it in terms of the size of the universe, it's relatively small. And now that we've taken an in-depth look into this massive discovery, let's look at some of the other huge objects that have been discovered in our universe. Number 5. The largest asteroid. While superclusters might be a big object, they aren't actually made of just one thing. They're in fact composed of millions of galaxies, stars, planets, and asteroids. And speaking of asteroids, by far the biggest one that's been discovered to date is called the 4 Vesta. Asteroids are generally smaller objects when compared to planets and stars, so if you compare it to something like a supercluster, it might seem insignificant. Nonetheless, the estimated size of this asteroid is 330 miles. If you want to go looking for it, you can find it somewhere between Mars and Jupiter in an area called the asteroid belt. This belt is not only home to 4 Vesta, but many other asteroids and small objects as well, which are all herded by Jupiter's gravity. If it helps, you can think of Jupiter like a shepherd and the countless asteroids its herds of sheep. But an asteroid is just a small object in the vastness of space, so let's explore a bit further, shall we? Number 4. Huge galaxies. There are many types of heavenly bodies that can be found in space. Some examples might include planets, stars, asteroids, and moons. But if you bunch them all into one giant thing, they become what is called a galaxy. If you consider galaxies as one single object, then you'll happen to find some truly massive ones out there. One example of a huge galaxy is the one in which we reside in, called the Milky Way galaxy. It spans a length of 100,000 light years, but believe it or not, as massive as that sounds, there are still bigger galaxies to be found. By far the biggest galaxy that's been discovered is IC 1101. While the name might not be as catchy as ours, the size of this galaxy is sure to blow the minds of anyone who truly comprehends it. This is because it's estimated to be around 50 times bigger than the Milky Way itself. But this is just one single galaxy, and there are millions more where this came from. Number 3. Clusters of galaxies. Just as planets and stars bunch together to form a single galaxy, if you consider the combination of multiple galaxies, it forms what's called a cluster. Think of it in terms of bunching together a number of houses and calling it a neighborhood. As you can imagine, we are also part of such a neighborhood, and in our cluster, there are about 24 galaxies, including the Milky Way. If you take this concept a step further and consider some truly huge clusters, you'll arrive at what are called superclusters, and one example of that was what we talked about previously, which was the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. Space is quite amazing, isn't it? Number 2. The Giant Arc. While the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall might be the largest known object in the universe, there are other massive superclusters in existence as well, and one of them is called the Giant Arc. As the name implies, the Giant Arc is a seemingly huge curved line consisting of dense clusters of galaxies. The estimated size of this huge cluster is 3.3 billion light-years. While this might not be as mind-boggling as the largest object, it's still so huge that it's estimated to cover around 7% of the known galaxy. One of the most interesting things about this discovery is that researchers came upon it by accident, meaning that they hadn't set out to locate this object initially. Number 1. Research about the Giant Arc. Sticking to the research aspect of the Giant Arc, there's been a lot of time and effort put into making sure that it exists in the first place. Given that it isn't a single object that can just be pointed at and confirmed, there's a lot more science that needs to be done. After a lot of research was conducted, one of the conclusions reached was that there was just a 0.0003% chance that this didn't exist, which is another way of saying that scientists are extremely sure of its existence. One of the most amazing parts of this discovery was that in the beginning, scientists weren't even sure that something like this could exist, and the main reason for thinking that was because it refuted one of the theories presented by Einstein himself. If further research definitely proves him wrong, then it could revolutionize the field of cosmology itself. So these were some of the details about the largest known object in existence. This proves that space exploration is a worthy endeavor and that we as a species are indeed curious creatures. This brings us to the end of our video, which we hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, do let us know by smashing that like button. And if you wish to explore and be notified of more such content like this in the future, then all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and do remember to hit that bell icon. And as always, I'll catch you guys later in another video. Bye now!